Hey, Who fans, welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And we're at episode 161.
Yeah, we are.
Have you ever thought what it's like to be wanderers in the fourth dimension?
Nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
There's no point in being grown up if you can't be childish sometimes.
The trouble with time travel is, one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear, and it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
I am the Doctor!
Great men are forged in fire. It is the privilege of lesser men to light the flame.
I'm the Doctor. This is Rose Tyler. She's my +1. Is that all right?
That would be me.
Hello. Surprise. Boom.
Etc.
I'm the Doctor. Do everything I tell you, don't ask stupid questions, and don't wander off.
How can you kidneys? I don't like the colour.
Howdy, howdy do, Who fans. Welcome to 161. Hope you've had a cracking week and that you've managed to do summit Doctor Who related. Some news, a bit of merch to get through.
Quite a nice bit of merch.
We're on to our review.
Yes.
The Black Cubes. Cubed.
That's what it was going to be called, wasn't it?
Yeah, the working title.
Cubed.
Yeah, Cubed.
Glad they changed it, though. It's boring, isn't it?
A little bit. It's kind of self-indulgent. Talking about black cubes, let's call it Cubed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be cool if they call it Cubed and put a little 3 at the end, like in superscript. So, like cubes, cubed. No, because that's...
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, like squared, like if you did a cube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is that 3? When you put something on, when you put a 3 at the end, does that make it cubed? I think it does.
Oh, I'm going to say yes, like I know, but I don't really.
Like we know maths.
Yeah, maths was not my strong point. In fact, not many things at school were.
It's got a 3, Morty. It's got a 3.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, hasn't got. I'm not going to get hung up. I was going to Google it, but no.
No, Gary's slipping into Rick and Morty because he's got a very cool Rick and Morty t-shirt on today. I'm kind of jealous of it. I like it.
Yeah, HMV, dude.
Yeah, nice.
I was in Forbidden Planet on Saturday.
Yeah, what'd you get?
They only had 2 Rick and Morty t-shirts in there.
Really? They had loads last time I went in there.
Yeah, the last time I was in there I think it was last month. I think I had to work when I was in the office for my day job. Finished there about 10 minutes away. I thought, that's awesome. Nip in there after work. And I'm sure I saw maybe 4 or 5 variations, maybe 6 Rick and Morty t-shirts in there.
Do you know?
Obviously,
I was going to say they had...
Who, but...
No new Doctor Who. I was going to say, do you know, they had they had loads of Rick and Morty last time I went in, but on their website they had loads as well. But some of the models they've got are interesting choices. I don't know if you know what I mean, but because there was like a yellow tee with all the Morty faces on, like a million Morty faces, and then it's modelled by an oldish, portly guy with a great big long grey beard. I don't know if you've seen it.
I've seen it. Yeah,
interesting. Who they're sort of imagining buying that. Yeah.
No, I read you, mate.
So, did you get anything in FP?
No.
Didn't you? Nothing in there.
No, I mean the Who section is a little bit more because they did go through a phase of having literally hardly anything Doctor Who in there. The shelves were really there was 2 shelves. I'm going back like 2 or 3 months probably, but like at least 1 or 2 of the shelves were just completely bare.
They've managed to flesh it out a bit.
Yeah, a little bit. And the Funko Pops were, tiny little collection there. There was a few on their side, and one of the boxes was dented, and the shelves just looked a bit grubby. And they got this cabinet as well where they had all the original Titans in there, and some collectible mugs and little figures and stuff. And one of them had fallen over. And, and it was all missing and bare. It just looked like it had no love. Like all the people that worked in there were all about Star Wars, all about, all the other stuff. But Doctor Who got left by the wayside. But they have sort of redone it a little bit. They have put some new stock in there, but it's a shadow of its former. I remember going in there maybe 2 or 3 years ago. You and I have been in there, and they've had a very good Who range in there. It was awesome, but
I remember, funny enough, you said about the Star Wars thing, because I remember when it was all along that back shelf.
Yep.
So you'd walk in, turn left, and that entire wall, sort of like along the window, was all Doctor Who stuff, which is now all Star Wars stuff, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, and then Doctor Who's kind of been put around the corner, but yeah, this is a bit sad.
I think we need a sort of re-energized collectibles launch. I think a character have done a fairly decent job over the years, but I get this feeling that the BBC just need to give that license to another toy manufacturer.
Well, I was just going to say, they've just had it renewed, haven't they?
I know.
Which is, I can only hope that means they've got some exciting plans in the works, because they did do some good stuff. It's just in the last couple of years, it's really pitted out. Like, they did about 12 variations of that awful Capaldi figure, didn't they?
Yeah.
And then they finally did 2 new Capaldi figures, which were quite good. Well, a lot better than that original one. But that's all they've really done. And I think they did a few Missy figures, but nothing. I feel like there's been a few missed opportunities, actually. I feel like I would have loved a Teller figure. I would have liked a Smile robot. What else is there? There's been a few things which would have made great figures, but we just never got them.
No.
Yeah.
Like I said, they've done some okay figures over the years, and they've done, some okay little box sets and stuff. It's not too bad, but maybe that's one of the things that has stopped me from getting into it, because I feel like there's not enough decent quality across the board. Maybe that's a financial thing, I'm not sure, but if you look at some of the, I don't want to mention Star Wars too much, but I know that they're a much bigger global powerhouse versus, although Doctor Who is global and it's, it is big, Star Wars is, the king of merchandise. So if you look at some of their ranges, they've especially what's something called the Star Wars Black Series figures.
I know.
They look very nice. Don't get me wrong, they're not amazing quality, but they just seem to nail the quality fairly more consistently than character. So I would love to have seen a BBC just hand that license off to a different manufacturer and see what they did with it, and just give it a good old proper relaunch and get it out there. But alas,
we might see it though. We may see it with the new series. Yeah, I saw a great interview with I don't know who he was actually. Somebody who works at Titans. Really fun guy actually. I guess he's like a manager or something. I don't know. But he was just saying how they were like, "Are you going to be doing some 13th Doctor Titan figures? Can we look forward to that?" And he couldn't really say much. He's like, "I really got my hands tied here." But all I will say is we're really looking forward to doing some new stuff. And he was sort of nodding, and you could tell he just wanted to say, "Yes, we've got loads planned, but I can't tell you anything." So that would be quite interesting. I think there will be a resurge, mate, because there's going to be such a gap between now and when Jodie actually hits the screens, and I think that sometimes a break is good because it sort of builds the appetite for it. So I think it's going to be a bit of a relaunch, so hopefully that'll be reflected in the merch.
Hopefully
yeah.
I also watched a bit of classic Who. Watched Brain of Morbius the other day.
Oh, did you?
In a mood for it,
I
mate.
love that story.
Love it. Yeah. Sometimes when you're looking around your collection and you think, I just want to, I'm feeling basic today. I just want to play it safe. I just want something that I know that I love. One of the stories that I can always rely on to, get me in the mood. And Morbius is one of those ones. So I thought, sod it. Stick old Morbius on there.
Whenever I think of that, I just think of Tom and Philip Maddock. So good in that story.
Brilliant. Yeah.
They are just, it's like like you said, it's one of those you can just put on and just really, even if you know it quite well, like we both probably have watched that, I don't know how many times, but I just love those two in it. There are so many cracking little lines and stuff from them. I always think of Tom with the water as well, when he's like, he's pouring the rain. He's like, "Can you spare a glass of water?" Just things like that. Just lovely little moments. And of course, Mara.
Oh, yeah.
Flame and all that. It's weird. I remember when I was a kid, I used to find that so boring. Like, I loved the Brain of Morbius, but whenever it got to the scenes with Mara and what are they called?
The Sisterhood. Yeah.
As a kid, I obviously watching it on VHS. I used to get really bored of those things, but now I really like them. I love, especially when Tom gets tied up and he's, being all cheeky with Mara. And all that. It's a good story. Yeah.
He's very cheeky in that one.
He's very cheeky in it. Yeah. Good old Tom. Yeah. I should hopefully be seeing Tom Baker next week. I'm going to the Phantom thing in Chiswick, and
yes,
he's going to be there. And so is Carol Ann Ford, and
Carol
I
Ann
don't
Ford,
think she's well. I've not seen her do a Phantom before. She may well have done, but
yeah, you little bugger.
Yeah, quite looking forward to that.
One of our listeners messaged me on Twitter the other day, in fact, and said, "You going? How are you? Are you going to any conventions recently? Sorry, upcoming." And I said, "Well, there's this Phantom event in a couple of weeks, and Tom's going to be there, and Carol Ann Ford, and some other people. So that sounds really good. I'll probably get along to that." As I was chatting to him, went onto the website, and they've sold out.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I bought mine before Tom was announced because it's one of my friend's birthday who goes, a chap called Paul. And he was like, well, you know, it's my birthday and it's a Phantom event and we're going to go for a drink. So, you know, even if the guests aren't that good, we'll come along. And I said, yeah, this all sounds good. I said, I haven't been to one I haven't been to the last couple. So I saw Carol Ann Ford was announced. I was like, oh, well, that's great. Yeah, I'll just, you know, because the tickets are £10 and you get a free print. I thought, can't go wrong. So I booked the ticket ages ago, literally when they first announced it or added Carol. I completely forgot all about it, and then of course I was reminded because they suddenly added Tom Baker and it was all over Twitter, and I was like, oh, brilliant, you know, that's cool. But of course as soon as they announced Tom, it sold out straight away.
Yeah, Bonnie Langford's there as well.
Bonnie's there.
John Leeson. Who else is there? Oh, there's a few. Yeah, there's quite a few classics, and the art card you get is quite nice as well.
It's the 5 Doctors one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it should be pretty cool.
Yes, I'm gutted about that because I don't think I'm going to another convention now until probably next year after this one.
I kept saying I'm not doing any more this year because I'm still paying for blimmin' London Film and Comic Con. I kept saying I'm not doing any more, but I think with the Chiswick ones, because they are, you know, I think they're reasonably priced, aren't they? The tickets. It's such a small, quiet little venue.
It's good value.
Yeah, it's obviously you still got to get the train fare and stuff up there, but yes, I'm quite looking forward to that next week. Thing is, I have met Tom a few times. Like my other half was like, "Well, you're not going to get another autograph, are you? Because they're not cheap, are they?" I think Tom's £25 for the auto, £30 for the photo, so that's £55 if you want to. And he's like, "You've already got them." I was like, "I know, but." It's Tom Baker. I at one point, because, you know, obviously just been on holiday, so I was thinking, no, got to be good. I really shouldn't. I'll just go and soak out the atmosphere, get Carol Ann's autograph, and that'll be it. But I know full well when I get there, I'll give in. I won't be able to resist meeting Tom again. I never can.
You're too easy, mate.
It's Tom Baker, yeah. It's Tom. It's like any of the Doctors, really. I mean, how many times have I met Sylvester? And you've met him a few times as well. And it's just, if the Doctor's there, you just feel like, I've got to meet him. You know? Yeah,
I must admit that's the reason why I got Sylvester's autograph at the London Film and Comic Con a few months back. It was where he was sat. There was massive queues either side of him. Do you remember?
I know.
Like, literally massive queues, and there was not one person for him. So he was in the middle, just on his Todd, having a look about, and I thought, I can't have this.
No,
I can't have this. So I bowled as brass up the middle. Sylv, sign that, will you? He was happy as Larry. Yeah.
I think he's going to. I think he's almost reached the Colin Baker period where most fans have got, like, you know, 3 or 4 autographs from him already. Because it's a bit like Colin. I've met Colin so many times over the years. So now when I see him, I'm kind of like, I've already got like 8 or 9. I don't need to meet you again. Whereas Tom, I have met him a few times over the years, but. You know, I haven't not as many as Colin, for example, or, you know, and Sylvester's now doing quite a lot of conventions now that the Hobbit's finished. So, yeah. So sometimes I kind of look at those and think, well, I have actually met you quite a few times, but I don't know. Uncle Tom is normally good value as well because he does tend to chat a lot, doesn't he? Yes. I mean, that's the thing with Tom. He will not be rushed. So you know you're going to be in that queue for quite some time because he likes to tell stories and chat with you, and that's all brilliant. But you've got to be prepared to wait to meet him because he's it's nice though. It's so much better than, like, you know, just a sort of grunt and a there you go.
Yeah, and he's still got that kind of that cool sort of vibe about him, hasn't he? He's still got that
bit eccentric.
He's got the big boomy voice as well, hasn't he? He's still got the
voice. Yes.
You know, I really think you might. He's got the big kind of I'd love to go there and meet, because I hate sounding so morbid. I hate it, but you don't know how long they're going to be with us.
Oh, don't say that.
They are cracking on a bit now, especially Tom and Colin. You know, so you've got to, I see what you mean though. Although you've met him lots of times and you've got his autograph, it's still Tom.
It's still Tom, yeah. We'll have to. And I will be wearing my scarf because Peter Davison's not there, so he won't be... won't need to worry about annoying him if I wear my Fourth Doctor scarf.
You won't get a backhander off Davison if you...
Davison, yeah. He's the Doctor I really want to meet, though, because actually he's the one I've met the least. And I really like Davison's Doctor.
Yeah.
And he is the one, but he never does anything he rarely does anything around in London and such like. So he's the sort of more elusive one, isn't he?
He is, yeah. You have to travel a little bit if you want to...
Yeah, I was going to say, I know he does a lot of conventions, but they never seem to be ones that I can get to easily, if you like. Yeah.
Yeah, not much else from me, buddy. I've been setting up the blog stuff. We've got our writers who are starting to get their first articles together now, which is good. So getting those guys set up. So you should be seeing stuff from those guys very soon. Next week, in fact, from next Monday.
Awesome.
You should be seeing some stuff. So that's me. What have you been up to? You've been travelling again, haven't you?
I have been travelling. Yeah. I'm running on adrenaline today, actually, because I got back about 1 o'clock in the morning last night. Yeah, I went to Valencia where they filmed Smile, the Peter Capaldi episode.
Cool.
I've never been before. I don't know. Have you been?
No.
Because I think it's been in a few films, so I'm told. But obviously, I was only interested in the Doctor Who stuff. It's a really cool place, mate. It does look like something out of the future. When I got there, I was a bit like, wow, this is totally what I imagined. It wasn't a letdown at all. And I did a bit of location filming and stuff. So there'll be a video at some point when I can get around to editing it. But no, it was really good, mate. I enjoyed it a lot. It's very futuristic. I mean, it's weird because I meant to watch the episode before I went, but like anything, I thought I had ages till I was going on holiday, and suddenly it's the night before, and I'm packing clothes, and so I didn't. And I now want to watch the episode to see, all the bits, because I think I've managed to go around all the locations. But even when you're there, there's about 3 buildings, which I think in the program they sort of all used all 3, but made them look like one big. And I was trying to work out exactly where it was they filmed, and the main bit that I worked out, we couldn't get in. It was so frustrating. It was like, because there's this big glass dome, and I was like, now there's those big doors. There's that dome. That's where Bill met the emoji robot. Let's go in there. And apparently it was a IMAX cinema. So I was like, that's cool. So we should be able to get in. Oh no, all barricaded off because the cinema's underneath it. So you go down.
Right.
You can get to the cinema underneath, but the top bit's used for like conferences and weddings and stuff. So you can't get in it. And so I was sort of on the outside of it, just like, in touching distance, but couldn't get in. So you can imagine I was doing my nut. But no, it's a cool place, mate. I just went and found a nice bar and sat there and soaked it all up. And it was really cool. But I got back late last night, and there was one cool little thing waiting for me, which was the William Hartnell First Doctor Funko Pop had arrived, which was quite a surprise because I thought it wasn't shipping until next week or whatever. I thought it was the 20th. So I was quite surprised there was this box waiting for me. And he looks brilliant, mate. He's really, because sometimes the pictures they put up of the Funko Pops, they do tend to sort of touch them up a bit, don't they, to make them look very clean and precise. And sometimes when you get the figure, the paint apps aren't always that good, are they? Do you know what I mean? But he does look really good. I have to say, he's really nice. And the only thing I was worried about is his walking stick. Obviously should just be pointing down towards the ground, but it was all bent and curled round. It was on the other side of his shoe, and I was like, oh no. I was like, oh no, is it like a dodge? Is the mold? So I had to take him out, and I was really worried I was going to snap it. So I sort of bent it back behind his shoe where it should be, and it's fine. But yeah, it did worry me for a bit because I just had visions of, because I was so tired last night, so I just had visions of breaking him within 5 minutes of opening him, if you know what I mean. But no, he looks really cool. So you've ordered him, haven't you?
I have, but mine hasn't arrived yet.
Did you got him from .com though, or .co.uk?
.com.
Yeah. See, I gotta say, I got mine from the other one.
Do you know what? When I was ordering it from .com, as I was ordering it, I thought in my head, I'm thinking, I should order this from International.
Yeah, I never know. Yeah,
something's telling me, but I thought, no, I always give the .com guys a chance. I always, as much as we cuss them and moan and complain, I thought, well, we'll give them a shot because hopefully they should always be improving, but alas, no.
Well, I must admit, I prefer to order from .com because you can cancel online. So if I can order anything from .com, but as long as it hasn't shipped or been charged, you can go in, cancel it, easy as pie.
Right.
As easy as pie. But with Co.uk, you have to email them, and it's a real faff. So to be honest with you, I normally use.com just because of that. Just because, sometimes you sort of see it cheaper and you want to cancel and thinking, oh God, I can't be bothered to email, it's a bit of a pain. Whereas on the other one, you can just literally just press a button and it's done. So yeah, but no, just was a bit of luck really. I think I got it from them just because they got it first, or they put it up for order first. So
right.
But it arrived really quick. So I'm pretty glad I did. But yeah, he should arrive soon. He hasn't sold out either. So it's not like you've got to worry, that you won't get him, if you know what I mean.
Well, I'm looking on my order page right now for .com.
Yeah.
And the status just says awaiting stock.
Awaiting stock, yeah.
I'm not happy about this.
No, but I don't know. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't arrive pretty quick. Because normally if one gets it, the other gets it at the same time.
Because I already had an email from them to say your first Doctor Mr. Men figure.
I didn't order them yet.
Yeah, the date has been put back already for those. So that's,
right.
That's brilliant. And now this, in my head, I knew it. I was thinking I should order this from .co.uk international, but
the thing is, you can guarantee it'd be a bit like lane swapping. You guarantee if you cancel in from one and order it from the other, it'll suddenly come in stock or whatever. So yeah, cool.
Yeah, so I'm glad you had a sweet time, buddy.
I did. Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, it's very good.
Cool.
And let's come back to that.
Shall we land the TARDIS and do some news?
Yes, I think we should.
First up, just one bit of news. Pretty cool, though.
Yeah, nice, isn't it, this?
Seems to be popular this year, this thing. So auctions. Another auction is upon us. This time, the signed Christmas script is up for auction. And I'm talking this year's Christmas script. So signed by loads of people, actually. Peter Capaldi, David Bradley, Mark Gatiss. So it's Gatiss, isn't it? Yes, Mark Gatiss.
Looks like, I would say that says Nicholas Briggs, but is he in it? I'm trying to work out. See, it looks like Nicholas Briggs, but it might not be because I don't think he's in it.
It does look like it, though. It
does look like Nick Briggs, doesn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, so Capaldi, Bradley, some other people. And it's one of those, what's known as a silent auction.
Oh.
Yes. So what that means is there's no...
I've got visions of the silence doing it. Did I hear 20,000 at the back?
So what that means is, unlike typical auctions where you can see the bids, from different people sort of, going up and up and up until the item's won, you don't know what's going on with the silent one. So it's just, you've got to be on the ball sort of thing. And it's already started. It started on the 15th. However, there's loads of time left on this one. If you go over to, I'll put a link for it in the show notes, but if you go over to silentauctionpro.com, you should see it on there, but I put the exact link in the show notes. The bid at the moment is £1,230. So already it's a little bit on the pricey side. And the minimum bid is £50 on top of that. So it kicked off with, 50 quid, and you can increment up by a tenner every time. So if you get outbid, you can bung in as a tenner. I'm talking like I'm going to do it, but obviously I haven't got.
I'm thinking the same. I mean, I would love this. I think it would be a lovely thing to own. And I really like the fact that Peter Capaldi always signs his autograph with Doctor ? As if he doesn't know if he's the 12th or 13th and stuff. But no, it's a really nice thing to have. But yeah, I ain't got no money, so I won't be bidding either. But whoever gets it is one lucky person.
Yeah, and I think the proceeds are going to charity. William Shatner's Hollywood charity horse show.
What? Is that really?
Shatner. Apparently so, yeah.
Well, that's certainly not what I was expecting.
There we go.
See, I'm worried now that that's Nicholas Briggs's autograph, because I don't want Daleks in the Christmas special. We've got enough going on without Dalek. We don't want the moth throwing in everything. But it might not be Briggs's autograph, so let's not assume. But talking of that, just very quickly, there has been rumours that Matt Smith's going to pop up in this year's special. I noticed. Now,
Yeah.
Where's that come from? We can't have any more, Stephen.
Yeah, well, I was about to say, you know, you don't want Nick Briggs and Daleks in there, but I heard Matt Smith was going to put, I don't know how, you know.
We'll be having Weeping Angels pop up soon and Wooden Cybermen as well. He's just going to throw the lot in, isn't he?
Well, Briggsy has done the voice for Cybermen as well, hasn't he? So
true, it could be something else. Very true.
But I think that is his signature. I've seen it before.
Yeah, it does look like it.
I think it is, yeah.
Spoiler.
Wow.
Yeah, spoiler on there.
So anyways, yeah, signed Christmas special script, if you've got the money.
Yes.
Right, our Dalek metal friend.
Bring him in. I expect he's missed me, hasn't he, while I've been away? Has he missed me? No.
I want to say yes, but
it's hard to tell, isn't it?
Yeah, let's get him in.
Merch corner. Merch corner. Merch corner.
I don't know whether to be impressed or disgusted.
It's a bit rubbish, but it's pretty. It's very pretty.
All right, fine. No, I can't tell him that.
Didn't even look at me. Didn't even acknowledge me.
I can't say what. The answer to your question is no, he didn't miss you, but I can't tell you the rest of what he said because it's a family show. Yeah.
I can imagine.
Get out.
Typical.
First up, bit of merch. Let's talk about it.
Oh, yes.
Series 10 stuff. Yeah. A lot of controversy around these ones. A lot of controversy.
Yeah?
Yes. For two reasons.
I think I know one of them.
Number one's the price.
Yeah. What the hell's going on?
What is going on with the pricing on these?
It's silly.
How much do you think I paid for Series 10 Doctor Who back in 2017? How much do you think I paid?
This is going back to the days when they first released VHSs and they were like £200.
It does feel like they're kind of overvaluing their own importance of a Blu-ray box set. I mean, so anyway, Series 10, we've got the pre-order details now. It's all up there on Amazon and everywhere else you can pre-order. It's in 3 versions. You've got the DVD box set.
Yeah.
You've got the Blu-ray box set, and then you've got the special Steelbook Blu-ray.
Which looks lovely.
Yes. So you've got 3 versions there. So controversy number 1 is the price. Let's talk about the price. So the DVDs starts at 50 quid. Crikey.
And that's come down as well. I mean, it was even more when it first went up. It's come down to $49.99, which is still ridiculous.
You've got the standard Blu-ray set, which is £51 at the moment on Amazon. And then you've got the Steelbook box set, which is 65 quid. Now, as you might have known, we love Doctor Who. As you might have guessed, we like a bit of Doctor Who, don't we?
Yeah, love it.
But I'm not sure that I love it for 65 quid's worth of Steelbook. I've got to be honest with you. I mean, I've paid more than that for stuff before, and I've never had buyer's remorse, I don't think. But I think if I bought this for 60... Now, I'm pretty confident because we've had quite a few people tweet about this after I put some pictures out, and they said, I can't believe the price. You know, it's just an abomination, the price. And on one hand, you can agree. But I have said to everybody, look, it will probably come down because that's normally what happens with Amazon. When you get these popular releases, it happens with video games as well. They bang the price up. Yeah. And then as the weeks go by and closer to release, it normally falls down to what you would normally expect. So I would say for the DVDs, that should be around 30 quid. Ish, 25, 30 quid. The standard Blu-ray, I would say, is normally 35, and then the Steelbook's normally an extra $5 or $10 on top of that. However, it does look a bit worrying at the minute because when's the release date? 13th of November. So just under a month away. I'm hoping these are going to drop a bit more than this, though, because I've dropped already.
Me too, mate, because I love the look of the Steelbook. I think it's beautiful. Is it the same... What's that artist called? Is it the same one that did the Series 9?
It is.
It's a name I can't pronounce.
Yeah, she does loads. What's her name?
Something Zhang?
Zhang, yeah. Got an X in there somewhere.
Yes. So like I say, it's a name I'm not even going to attempt because I'll get it wrong. But yeah, it's a beautiful Steelbook. And I think you posted this as well, and I agree with you. I actually really like the cover of the standard.
It's wicked.
Blu-ray. I think it looks lovely. Like picture of Capaldi, and then you got the TARDIS and Pearl hanging out of it, sort of in the middle of him. It's a really nice composition, and yeah, it looks really good. But I agree with you, mate. These prices are mad. I'm really hoping they come down, but I can't help but think, wasn't it Series 2 Steelbook that we kept saying, oh, it'll come down, and it did, but not anywhere near what we thought, did it?
That's the thing. Yeah. That's the thing that's slightly worrying, because it did do that with Series 1. We pre-ordered it, didn't we? And I remember you saying to me, they normally come down, it should be all right. And it did. It came down to, I can't remember what it was, how much we paid for the Series 1 Steelbook. I think it was 25 quid in the end.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it definitely came down for it was...
Or 29?
Definitely did. Yeah, it came around to 30, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, you're right, the Series 2, it dropped a little bit, but then it sort of stayed. On Amazon anyway, because we got it cheaper elsewhere, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it is a little bit worrying. So that's controversy number one. And also, I want to say about the covers for the standard Blu-ray. I'm not overly thrilled with them using the star ratings from newspapers on the front.
Oh my goodness, I hadn't even noticed that.
I've not. Please correct me if I'm
tacky.
wrong. Yeah,
that is tacky.
Correct me, but we've not had that for Doctor Who covers before, have we?
No.
No.
Yeah, that's so weird. I hadn't even noticed.
Yeah. So the thing is, the top review is The Mirror.
Oh.
So 5 stars from The Mirror, 5 stars from Vulture, and I'm assuming Vulture's some online review thing.
Never
and then we've got 4 stars from the Telegraph. Why would you put 4 stars on there from the Telegraph? So that's the only. It's bizarre.
Well, that's on the back. It's probably got the Sun and the Daily Express. That's really weird. I can't believe I hadn't even clocked that. I was probably just too taken in with the artwork. What a shame, because that does make it. It is tacky, isn't it? I mean, we don't need that. Like you said, why would you put 4-star on there? Yeah, it didn't quite make 5-star with the Guardian, but or the Telegraph, whatever it was.
Well, that's what I mean. All of the papers and online review blogs like IGN and Collider and all those sorts of people, what they're basically saying is, out of everybody that reviews TV, we've only got 2 5-star ratings from the lot of you.
Yeah.
So I would have scrapped them completely, because the artwork is beautiful. This
really nice
with Capaldi, and then you've got all the space scene. It's purple and blue, and it's really, really nice. Whoever did it, really, really nice. And then it just gets ruined by these tacky 5 stars. I mean, you don't need to put that on there. Come on.
It makes it look like a sort of promotional thing, doesn't it? And that's really weird. I can't see it in the same way now.
Yeah. So based on that, it's got to be the Steelbook for me. I just hope it drops in price.
Oh, definitely.
So I'll have to keep an eye on that. Controversy number 2 is, due to the timing of its release, there's going to be no Christmas special on this box set.
Yeah.
So no Twice Upon a Time. That's obviously going to be either a second release, where they'll do a Series 10 as a special edition, in 9 months' time, and it will include the Christmas special. And you'll be able to buy the Christmas special on its own, I would have thought, at some point.
Yeah.
So overall, it's not gone down well, I'll be honest.
No, it's just, to be honest, it's plain and simple. It's just greed. They know exactly what they're doing, don't they? Know exactly what they're doing.
Of course,
because they're just milking it. They are milking that cash cow. I mean, I just going back to the prices for a second as well. The thing is, it's like the Sharda Steelbook. Normally, mate, you know how impatient I am. I have to pre-order stuff the second it comes out. You know what I'm like. I have not ordered the Sharda Steelbook yet because of the price, and that says something, because I normally just do it anyway. It will come down. But it's the Sharda Steelbook still £37 something, which I think is too much.
It is.
So the prices are they're silly. And if somebody like me, that's an obsessive buyer, isn't ordering them, that's got to tell you something. Do you know what I mean? They are just too high.
Adam is the yardstick for
the Sharda Steelbook now, and I keep wanting to order it, but I'm not paying 40 odd quid for it.
Adam is the yardstick for merchandise ordering. I mean, if Adam's not...
I've got no willpower at all.
Yeah, because it's funny, because when cool stuff like this gets announced and up for pre-order, normally Adam and myself will kind of tweet each other, won't we? And say, oh, did you order it? And I'll be like, oh, I forgot to earlier, thank you. Or I'll be like, have you ordered it yet? He went, yep, an hour ago. So with things like this, like the series box sets and the these cool things,
especially steelbooks.
Yeah, we're normally sort of in there like swimwear. But I'm exactly the same, mate. I've not pre-ordered Sharda yet or this Series 10 because, the price is just not appealing enough.
No, absolutely agree.
Yes. However, the special features aren't too bad, I suppose. Yeah, so we've got behind the scenes of the Dr. Mysterio Christmas special,
which of course is included,
which is included in this one, ironically. We've got A New Kind of Hero, which is a documentary about Dr. Mysterio again. We've got the binaural sound.
Oh, that's quite interesting.
For Knock Knock, the episode. We've got Becoming the Companion, which is a kind of vloggy type of documentary about Pearl Mackie. We've got Out of This World as Pearl Mackie steps aboard the TARDIS for her first adventures, Bill Potts. Ingrid Oliver, that's cool. Looks back at the debuts of other Doctor's recent companions. I got something else called Who's There? We creep silently through the spooky adventure as writer Mark Bartlett and director Bill Anderson reveal the secrets of how they make a truly scary episode of Doctor Who. Again, narrated by Ingrid Oliver. Rona Munro. So this is she wrote, what did she write? She wrote Face the Raven, didn't she? Or no, what did she write for the series?
What was it called? Eaters of Light.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So she was one of the last classic writers. She wrote Survival, didn't she? So she was, back to write a new episode. So we've got the finale falls behind the scenes of the Series 10 finale. We've got the fan show. So Crystal and Luke, those guys who run the Doctor Who fan show, they're on there doing their kind of post catch up with writers and so on and talking general Who stuff. And then we've got something called Doctor Who, The Final Countdown. So it's an interview with Pearl Mackie and unseen footage from the concerts.
Oh, I remember that. That might be quite cool.
Yeah. And then we've got the usual audio commentaries, deleted scenes and stuff like that. So the special features are not too bad. They don't sound too bad. Obviously, they're not jumping out as if, they're not making where you all of a sudden click the order button. But they're not too bad.
No, there's a couple of bits in there that sound quite good. I noticed they've included the inside looks as well, which in a way I suppose is good, but it's also a shame because they were included on the parts 1 and part 2. So, it might have been quite nice to have kept them exclusive to that release because they're only like 3 or 4 minute behind the scenes things for each episode. So,
right.
Yeah, but they've included them on this. I suppose it's good for, people who want it all. Yeah.
And also, if you are a fan of the Blu-ray box sets for Series 10, when they separated them parts 1 and 2, and when you put them together they make that cool picture. That artwork is on the inside of the steelbook,
which looks really nice. Yeah.
So that's something, I suppose.
No mention of any art cards, so maybe they were exclusive to the parts 1 and part 2.
Probably
doesn't say anything about art cards.
Yeah. So there we go. It's not thrilling everybody at the moment, but at least they're here, I suppose.
Yeah, it's good. Like I said, I think last week we talked about the reveal of the cover. And I remember we were sort of saying, where is it then? And when we got it, we were like, ooh, it does look good. So yeah, it's nice to get some more information on it. But get those prices down.
Indeed.
And then we'll get them pre-ordered.
Yeah.
Right. What else has he got on his tray of goodies? Oh, a calendar. So Doctor Who calendars. So there's been quite a few.
There has.
Actually, as this year, isn't it? Considering that merch is tailing off. We've had quite a few calendars. And I have to say, all the ones we've talked about thus far have been really nice. And this one doesn't disappoint. So it's Stuart Manning's Retro Visions calendar. And basically, Stuart Manning done these covers. I think, did he start with the Capaldi era? Or did he start before that? Because I'm thinking of he started with Capaldi.
It was, I think, yes.
So they were sort of poster style covers that he did. And they were, I think you'll agree, really nice covers for each episode. They were done in a sort of retro style, hence the name of the calendar. So they're very sort of arty, but they work.
They're really good.
Yeah, they are really good. And they're releasing a calendar featuring 12 of the covers that he's done over Capaldi's era. So it's not all the covers, although I think you can buy them as posters or something. I'm not sure, but so it's a sort of selection of all the covers he's done on a 2018 calendar, and it's through the company Who Dares, who did the other calendar we talked about recently, didn't they?
Yeah,
the Andrew Skilletta. I can never say his name. Skilter calendar.
That's
Who Dares?
Yep.
Yeah. So this looks really nice. Again, I don't know. I've liked all the calendars we've spoke about. I don't know which one I'm going to go for yet, because I do like them all. But this one does look good.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to go with the official one because they've got a lot of inconsistencies and problems with that one. But I really liked the one that we mentioned 1 or 2 episodes ago. That's got the really old Target style.
I know
covers,
exactly what you mean. Yeah,
but this one does look good still. Some of these posters are very, very cool. And if you go over to Adam says who-dares.co.uk, just jump up to the online shop link at the top, and you'll see it on the second row there. It's called Retro Visions. If you have a look, you will immediately recognise them. You'll be like, oh yeah, those posters that came out. So they are very nice. They are very, very cool. And it's a standard price, £10 for pre-order.
Good price, isn't it? Yeah, $9.99. Yeah, it's good.
So yeah, we'll see. But there's definitely a bit more choice available this year, which is good for calendars. Yeah, not forced to buy the official one if you don't want.
Isn't it ironic that out of all the calendars we spoke about, the worst one by far is the official Doctor Who calendar, which is littered with errors and misquotes, and it's actually only worth getting just to have it as a, what would you call it, an interesting piece of where it all went wrong, if you know what I mean. It's interesting because it's just like, well, there's so many bits wrong with it. But there is, the other calendars are really good. I think I'm with you though, mate. Out of all of them, I like that calendar, not the retro one. What is it? I don't know. We spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, and it was like the old-fashioned style of art of Doctor Who. Through this, was it this company or someone else? I forget now, but that's the one I like best so far.
Right. Yeah.
Same one as you.
Yeah. Cool. There we go. Another calendar. Now, review time.
Yes.
Back to New Who. Hate that saying, New Who.
I know a lot of people. I don't mind it actually, but a lot of people hate it.
Spell N-U.
N-U, yeah. It must be spelled N-U just to annoy those people that don't like it. Yeah.
Modern Doctor Who.
Yeah.
What are we going to do this week, buddy?
Well, Matt Smith episode. Interesting one, this one. The Power of Three.
Every time we flew away with the Doctor, we'd just become part of his life. But he never stood still long enough to become part of ours. Except once. The year of the slow invasion.
Haven't you seen them?
Invasion of the very small cubes.
Oh my god. I recommended we treat this as a hostile incursion.
There are soldiers all over my house, and I'm in my pants.
We don't know how they got here, what they're made of, or why they're here.
Whoa! What kind of a welcome do you call that?
Our best hope now is each other.
You're thinking of stopping, aren't you? You and Rory.
The travelling is starting to feel like running away. What do we do?
Choose.
Ooh. They were pretty good, the trailers for Series 7. They did sound very
exciting.
Yeah. So The Power of Three was brought to us on the 22nd of September 2012. It was written by our future showrunner, Mr. Chris Chibnall. Old Chivers,
yeah.
And it was directed by Douglas McKinnon. And the Rory and Amy are kind of in that transitional period where they've done a lot of running with the Doctor and adventures and so on. And now both of them are silently thinking, maybe it's time to stop all this craziness with the Doctor and settle down and have quote unquote normal lives. And the Doctor's having none of it. He can't sit still. He needs to keep moving forward, as you would expect, especially with Matt Smith's version of the Doctor. And while this is sort of going on, these mysterious black cubes appear all over the planet, and they're just motionless. Nobody knows what's going on. Then all of a sudden they start opening and doing bad things to people. So it's the start of a very, as Rory or somebody said, it is the start of a very slow invasion that lasts what feels like bloody ages in the story. And it turns out it's from the Sharkry.
I think you got. I think it's Shakri.
Is it Shakri?
Yeah.
Yeah. So these guys have essentially, said, whenever the human race does this, they do bad things and blah blah blah. So, it's their thing that these cubes have arrived and so on. And we also have some unit stuff in there and Rory's dad, which is very good. So the Power of Three. Hit me.
Yeah, Power of Three. I quite liked this one when it first aired, but found it a bit hollow, if you know what I mean. And I don't really go back and visit many of Matt Smith's stories unless we're doing them for the podcast. Particularly, I don't often reach for his era. There's just not many stories that grab me at all. But watching this morning again for the first time in quite a long time, I actually really quite enjoyed it. I actually really liked it. I do find it a bit messy. It does seem to throw a lot of stuff in there, and there are bits where I'm thinking, that's a bit filler. It's almost as if there's a bit where Amy and Rory get taken off to have a meal at the Savoy, and there's mentions of a Zygon ship parked underneath the Savoy. And I don't know, there's a lot of things where I was thinking, what's that doing in there? It's as if they needed to fill 5 minutes. But at the end of the day, mate, I actually really did quite enjoy this one. I liked the humour in it, and I think you just mentioned Rory's dad, and I really liked him in it. Brought a lot of warmth to the episode, which is sometimes missing, I think, from Matt Smith's era. So yeah, for me, not perfect, but very enjoyable, I thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
get on to more about things that are niggling me as we go through it, but overall, I quite liked it.
Okay.
What about you?
So I don't mind this one.
Oh.
I don't mind it. It's I feel like it tries unintentionally to be a bit RTD-y.
Oh, definitely. I made that note as well.
Did you?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
With all the news stuff and
Yeah. So I think it tries, whether that's intentional or not, I'm not sure, but it tries its best to have that sort of fun factor to it. And like you said, the humour's there, and you've got some, quirky little musical scenes, and, it does feel a little bit RTD, but for some reason I just can't get into the story enough. The story itself doesn't grip me. I think that's because it's one of those stories where it's essentially, and you can see that it's written by Chibnall, because anyone that's watched Broadchurch will know that he loves to build things up.
Yeah.
He never ever reveals stuff. And the other things that he's written for TV is very, very similar. He never goes straight in with the reveal of the enemy, or who's, he likes to keep you guessing, and and there's this big build up. But for me, it's one of those very common traps that Doctor Who falls into with that, where unless you've got something amazing at the end, so that the build up is worth it, then it just kind of. And for me, this is the worst bit. The final third or the final quarter for me is terrible for me, because we get introduced to these people, the Shakri, and the Doctor knows who they are. He hadn't seen them or heard of them in, forever, it seems. And I like the idea that they're kind of,
Pest control.
Pest control, yeah. So, they see the human race as, this kind of, intergalactic sort of pest, if you like, and they've sent the cubes there to wipe out the human race. And I think, well, that sounds really menacing and quite, but then it's all a case of, the sonic screwdriver has reversed the polarity.
Yeah.
You know, and everything's blown up and now everything's fine. So the ending for me is terrible. I was so when I watched this morning, in fact, I left it right until the last minute because I thought, let me just watch it, you know, a few hours before we record. So it's fresh in my mind and I can, you know, but I think I must have seen this. This is the third time I think I've seen this one. And yeah, every time I watch it, I finish it thinking, how disappointing was that? The first, you know, the 3/4 of it, I actually think there's some good stuff in there, and I really like Matt Smith in this one. Love Rory's dad. I think he'd be a great companion.
Yeah.
He's so good. But I find Amy and Rory very plain. I know they're trying to be plain because they have to have that almost overemphasized feel of, you know, being boring, as it were, because they're not sure about traveling with the Doctor anymore. They're going to do normal human day-to-day mundane things. So I get that's the kind of the point of it, but I find them quite flat, really. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. It's not a terrible watch, but I just think because the build-up is pretty cool and then the ending is so poor for me, I just always, you know, walk away thinking, that could have been awesome, that ending. But yeah, so that's my view.
I do agree with you about the ending. That's what I was going to say about coming on to you later, because the thing is with this, I love the concept. I love the idea. It does feel original. It got all these little black cubes, you know, what's going on with them. And I in a way, I like the way it takes its time, because like you said, it makes people think, because obviously they're really worried about the cubes when they first arrive. And then, you know, as I think would naturally happen over a year, people just treat them as everyday. They start using them as paperweights and, you know, stuff like that. So they're just an everyday thing. And some of them are so bored, they've thrown them in the bin. And I think, that's quite realistic. And that's what you would do. They'd be exciting for like 10, you know, for a few weeks. Then you get bored. So I like that, because then obviously when they do suddenly kick off, you're like, whoa, what's happening? But yeah, I've got to agree with you. As much as I loved that concept, and I really liked, like, you know, the humour and stuff in this episode, especially the, you know, Brian's dad and everything was really great stuff. But I've got to agree with you, mate. It's the last sort of probably 10 minutes where the actual resolution is really poor, and it does really let down, I think, what's up until that point a very enjoyable episode. Right. I thought, in my view anyway, I just sort of thought, you know, I was really going along with it. And even though there is a lot of stuff thrown in there, which probably wasn't needed, I thought, I am, you know, I'm on board with this story. But I agree with you, mate. The ending is a real letdown, especially the way that they just, like you said, literally just reverse it. The blimmin' Sonic, Matt and that Sonic. I mean, you know, even now it still annoys me that blimmin' Sonic does everything. But it is a frustrating conclusion to what I think is a really good build-up, you know, a really sort of interesting and different story. And it's good to see the Doctor, you know, I love the fact he's so restless on Earth, you know, he just wants to just go off and do things. So I love all that stuff. One thing I would probably disagree with you on is that I actually quite liked Amy and Rory in this.
Okay.
Because I don't find them, they never come across as a particularly convincing couple to me. Like, you know, we had all the stuff with Amy fancying the Doctor in series 5, and they sort of slowly phase that out, don't they? A little bit. It never really goes away, but they slowly sort of, you know, because at one point she's jumping all over the Doctor and she in series 5, and I hated all that. Just didn't need it. So by this point, obviously, it's nearly time for the Ponds to go. But I felt like they were finally feeling like a proper couple, because I never really believed in them as a couple. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas in this, there's a bit more interaction
Yep.
between them. Like, you know, when they're sort of, they don't need to say what they're thinking without both knowing that they're thinking the same thing. And there seems to be a bit more chemistry between Rory and Amy in this. So I quite liked them in it. But I never really find them that convincing as a couple. I always sort of think, because of the way it's written, that Amy is always so bored and you know, you always feel sorry for Rory as if he's not really living up to Amy's expectations, but she sort of plods along with him anyway. It's that sort of thing. But I quite like them in this. I think they quite sort of spark off each other quite well, especially when Matt's sort of living with them and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I quite like them in it.
No, I know what you mean. In terms of acting as a couple, then yes, you know, much more believable in this than most of the other episodes when they're in it together. Because Amy, she does have a touch of the Rose about her at times where, you know, poor old Rory does get sort of a bit of a bum deal sometimes because...
Oh, definitely.
You know, there are times, a bit like Rose with Mickey, you know, there were some times when Rose was all over the Doctor.
Yeah.
And poor Mickey was just, you know, stood there looking on, thinking... So you did have that a little bit with Rory as well. But in this, I do agree with you. Actually, they are much more of a couple, and Amy's definitely not as enamoured with the Doctor in this one as she has been. She kind of, you know, they're there because it's cool. You know, there are times where they say, like, you know, we're going to do like normal lives. We're going to have normal lives then, and they hear the TARDIS in the background, and they sort of sit up excited, and they're like, nah, not today. So you can tell that they've still got that. You know, it's really cool to go off an adventure with the Doctor, but they. You know, but it's not Amy driving it on her own and Rory's just a follower. It's like the two of them, you know. So I get where you're coming from with that. I just found that the way that they came across, even like scenes where you'd thought that they would blow up and, you know, and give it, you know, a lot more. So when Brian gets kidnapped in the hospital, Rory's just like, oh, Dad, you know, when he starts skipping off down the corridor, you'd think that he'd be like, you know, crazy and, you know, trying to get his dad and stuff. And so I just thought that maybe they just played it a little bit tamer, a little bit flatter than I would expect. But
yeah, I know what you mean, and I think looking on Wikipedia this morning, it was saying this was the last one they filmed or something. So because of the last one they recorded, so I don't know whether they were a bit subdued in the sense that they knew that this was, you know, the last thing they would film. Because apparently the scene where they go in the TARDIS with the Doctor at the end. That was the last thing they filmed, and apparently they just shut the doors, and all three of them were hugging, crying, and oh my god, you know, that's it. We've just filmed our last scene, and so it might have been a bit of a slightly somber atmosphere on set, thinking, oh no, you know, although they would have already filmed their exit, it's a bit strange. They, you know, this is the last thing they filmed, I think.
Yeah, and there is a kind of somber undertone to Brian's sort of talk with the Doctor because, you know, when they disappear. And it's been weeks and they come back and they've got different clothes on. And Rory's dad, he's, you know, obviously as a concerned father, you know, he's like, you know, what happened to, is anyone that you've travelled with before? You can see what he's getting at. He's basically said, you know, anyone died that's travelled before, and the Doctor does his best to sort of be honest, but at the same time assure him that, you know, everything's going to be cool. You know, and ironically at the end where his dad sort of gives in to the Doctor's thirst for adventure and doesn't want them to just, you know, retire into normal life. He's like, you know, go with him, you know, live, you know, make the most of it. And unfortunately, when they next go out on their adventure, that's when they disappear forever, isn't it? And so the Angels take Manhattan. That's where Amy and Rory, you know, they get the Weeping Angels. They go, don't they?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's funny because I haven't watched that two-parter for a long time. I remember thinking it wasn't a very nice exit for them. I think they deserved a much better exit, but I might change my mind when we come to review it. It's so long since I've seen it, but I did keep thinking that all the way through this, actually. Every time Brian's saying, you know, well, look after them, won't you? And he's like, the Doctor actually promises, doesn't he? He's like, I promise you, not these two. It's not going to happen to them. And you sort of think, oh no, it actually is. You know, but it was a poor exit from what I remember in the following story. I love that scene though. I love the scene between the Doctor and Brian, where Brian's he's just giving him a bit of a sort of gentle dad talk, isn't he?
Yeah.
Sort of saying, you know, you better look after these guys, and you know, getting to know the Doctor. But I thought it was a lovely scene. I also love the scene between the Doctor and Amy, where they're just sat talking, supposedly in front of the Tower of London, but it's not very good CGI, which is a shame because it's a lovely scene. And there's some great lines in that. Like the Doctor says, you know, you were the first face this face saw, which is a lovely line.
Yeah.
And he says something about, I'm not running away from things, I'm running towards them. And I thought, oh, that's so Matt Smith's Doctor, that is.
Mm-hmm.
He's so, danger excites him, and he's excited by everything, isn't he, it's Doctor? Which I really liked that line. So I thought it was a lovely scene between two of them. That's why I quite like Amy in it as well, because she's not my favourite companion by a long chalk. I don't always like Amy. I find her a bit selfish and in her character and stuff. I don't dislike her. I mean, she's not as bad as Clara, but there are not, there are some stories where she really annoys me, and there are other stories where I think she's okay. I liked her in this one because she was much more relaxed and seemed to be sort of settling into her everyday life with Rory, and much more, like you said, I much more prefer the dynamic between her and the Doctor, as we get towards the end, because like I said, that was just a nice quiet scene between the two of them. There was none of the, oh, but I'm in love with you really stuff that, got in the way. So, I quite liked Amy in this, although she doesn't get an awful lot to do, but she does get some nice moments like that, I thought.
I think she does have these episodes every now and then where you do warm to her, and you do think she's a very cool companion, and she's great, because she does get compared with Rose a lot. I mean, I just did it a few minutes ago, but she does get compared with, because of that love interest almost, and that attraction.
Yeah, that annoyed me.
Yeah. So, but when you have episodes like this, though, it does sort of remind you, this is how it should be with Doctor Who. I don't want to tar everything with the same brush, but this is kind of how it should be. It should be the Doctor, and then he should have his companions, and that's it. Whereas, modern Who does drift into that relationship-y kind of feeling with the Doctor sometimes, doesn't it? Mm. And like you said, it can get a bit annoying because you think, oh, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see a love story between the Doctor and the companions. Can you imagine Davison and Tegan? Can you imagine if she was all over him? And,
oh, no.
It'd just be
weird.
No,
I don't want to think of that.
You know what I mean? It'd be weird. And that's the sort of vibe you get when you have those episodes where Amy is all lurching over the Doctor. And
well, what is that story? I remember. What is that story where she pounces on him and tries to snog him at the end?
It's very on, isn't it?
It's awful. I can't remember what story it is. But I remember thinking it was an all right story, and then you get that at the end of it where she's trying to sort of Oh, it's horrible. I can't even think. I'm really cringing even thinking about it.
Yeah.
But no, she's all right in this one.
Stories like this, though, she's all right. And Rory's okay as well. He's okay.
Well, I quite like the character of Rory because he kind of plays the underdog quite well, and I think Arthur Darvill's quite good with the subtle humour that he's given.
Really
if you know
good.
What I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I quite like his performance as Rory, even when he's not really given a lot to do. So, I don't really have any problems with Rory. I've got to say, I remember the first time I watched this, that you saying about the build-up, I do remember feeling really, I think I almost sort of gasped when, when the cube opens in front of the Doctor and you think we're finally, something's going to happen.
Yep.
And then the Doctor's like, oh, there's nothing in there. I remember thinking on a first watch, you're kidding me? What's going on? It is such a letdown moment, and I don't think it really picks up from there, to be honest. Even when we get to see the old, what's he called? The Shakri. Yeah. Who looks pretty good, by the way. Does he remind you of someone? Because he reminds me of someone. I'm just wondering if it is the same person. Who does he remind you of?
Oh, you've put me on the spot now. Okay. And I didn't write it down in my notes. He reminds me of Mark Gatiss.
Oh, okay. No, that's not what I was
behind
thinking.
The makeup. Initially, when I first watched it, I thought that's Mark Gatiss with makeup on.
Yeah.
Who does it remind you of then?
No, I thought it was the Emperor from Star Wars, and then watching it again today, I was like, oh no, it's not the Emperor. Right. It's not the Emperor he reminds me of. He reminds me of Darth Vader when he takes his mask off.
Oh, yes.
At the end of Return of the Jedi.
Yes,
when he's got the it just reminds me of that. But I didn't realise it's Stephen Burkoff under all that get-up. I did not know that. He's a fairly well-known actor, isn't he? I mean, he's done quite a lot of this, and it's really surprising that he comes in and does that. What does he have, about 4 lines?
Yeah, pretty much.
No, he doesn't really get a lot to do, and as I said, he's quite a well-known actor.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I had literally no idea it was him under all that makeup until I just read it in front of me on Wikipedia. And I was like, no way. I even clicked on the name because I couldn't believe it was the same person. But it's quite a big, I say biggish name to have in Doctor Who, and just totally lost, really. He does look great though, doesn't he? I mean, the makeup and that, I think he does look really cool.
Yeah, he does look great, and he does
quite
have that
menacing.
Yeah, that kind of I know what you mean, though. That the Sebastian Shaw, who played Darth Vader at the end of Return of the Jedi, you're right. They do look really, really similar. It's not just the makeup, but their eyes as well and stuff. Yeah, they do look really
just
similar.
Just the look of him. I've just got to detour very slightly for a second because it's going to bug me. Didn't Lucas change the person underneath the mask when he redid the...
Yes.
You know, when he did all the special editions? Because wasn't the original actor replaced by somebody else?
Yeah, so at the end of Return of the Jedi, when they see the Force ghosts at the end, initially it was Shaw who was there with Alec Guinness and Yoda. But then he changed it to Hayden Christensen, who played Anakin. Right. Yeah.
But does he change it when the mask comes off?
Oh, no.
That's always been the same guy.
Same guy, yeah.
Yeah, that's who it reminds me of.
But equally, yeah, that would have been equally as annoying.
Yes.
But no, it's that guy. That's what I meant earlier when I thought that's a really cool concept and they should have had him in it a bit more because...
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, because like you say, he's a big...
wasted.
Yeah, big name, and he comes across, he's got this very calm, collective, threatening vibe about him. Mm. And I'd have thought that I would have introduced him a little bit earlier because that would have added to the build-up and the more threat and stuff. But yeah, that's why I can't get my head around the ending at all because you have this cool character who pops up, the Shakri, and you think, oh, wow, this is going to be a good tear-up. He says a few lines, and then because he's a hologram overall, he's not actually there, is he? He's just a hologram.
No, he's not there.
And then the Doctor does his business with a Sonic, and then it's all over. So... yeah, they could have really exploited that character a bit more.
It's a terrible wrap-up, isn't it? Because basically they blow the ship up. They just literally get through the, whatever it is, loophole, wormhole, in the split second that it blows up. And, it's a terrible ending. It's again, it is a reset button, isn't it?
It is.
The Doctor just says, I'll reverse it and everyone will be fine. Mm-hmm. Even though I don't understand that because... isn't it supposed to be that everyone's had like a heart attack or something? I can't remember what they do. But it's how can you reverse a heart attack? I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't. I agree with you. None of that works for me at all in terms of a resolution.
Yeah, and Matt Smith's normally pretty good with that kind of big sort of dramatic end. He's normally but I mean he's not bad in that bit, but it just felt like he was given this really cool script and probably he read it at the end and thought, oh, I'm just going to use my Sonic and hit the reset and back to normal. So yeah, I mean, going back also to what you said about Rory and his kind of discreet humour, I think that him and Matt Smith are so good together with their little not digs at each other, but they're kind of little, the way that they are with each other. Because you get the feeling that Rory's often looked at as the third wheel, if you like, the gooseberry, ironically, between the Doctor and Amy. But I think their timing is so good, like the way that they just had those little remarks towards each other. And
I agree. I think they're great together. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. You can tell that the three of them clearly got on offset. Yeah. That they just naturally bounce off each other. Which is really cool.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? There is one thing I don't understand, and I only watched this morning, so I just wonder if you can explain it. Well, so what does the cube do why do only some people have the heart attack? So for example, why did one of the Doctor's heart stop? And why are Amy and Rory fine? Like, how has the cube selected who's having a heart attack? Because I didn't get that at all. I was thinking, so half the nation's collapsing with a heart attack. Why them? Like, what's the cube done to them and the Doctor that it hasn't done to Amy and Rory and the other half of the population? That's one bit I didn't understand.
I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm glad it's not just me then, because as I said, I watched it this morning, and because obviously I didn't get back till late last night, so I was sort of watching it but trying to do other stuff as well. But yeah, I just wondered if I'd missed something because I just didn't get that. I was like, so like the idea of the cubes coming down, taking the time, getting the information, blah blah blah, and then they suddenly start shooting at the Doctor. They pinprick Amy. Mm-hmm. What do they do to Rory? Just sort of tease him.
Yeah.
But nothing happens to Amy and Rory, and I just couldn't quite work out why not.
I think
the Doctor's having a heart attack, isn't he?
Yeah, I think the way it works is that it's just a clever play on numbers because the story is a power of 3. I think it's like a subtle thing. What's happened is the cubes have targeted because Kate Stewart says, it's targeted a third of the population. So I think all it's done is like every one person in 3, it targets them. So it plays on the 3.
It's like a purge, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Right. Okay,
I
that
think
makes
that's
sense.
what it is. Yeah. So it doesn't just randomly target people. Well, it does, but it doesn't do it for any other reason that it's a third, apparently.
No, that makes more sense. Yeah, I kind of get that. Yeah.
And Matt Smith plays that bit really well with when one of his hearts is going. It's really funny because on one hand you think, well, he clearly doesn't die. We know that. However, he must be in trouble because it's one of his hearts has failed and he's struggling a little bit. But it's really funny at the same time the way he's acting it. So I really liked, for the most part, I loved Matt Smith in this one.
Yeah, I did as well. I liked him in it a lot. Yeah,
I think he suits having that RTD-esque zaniness now and then. The bit where he's playing keepy uppy in a garden and painting a fence. And all that stuff. He got that funny music as well. He plays up to that really well. And he sort of leaps over the sofa. He's got so much energy, hasn't he? He's like bounding around everywhere and he's jumping around and
he is full of energy, that man. It is one of those stories where I think he's both good at the drama and the comedy. Yes. I mean, a lot of his stories he is. There's very few where I don't think he quite hits the mark. Nightmare in Silver, but this one, he's still on top form. I think
he is.
He's so good with humour as well. I love the bit he says something about he invented the Yorkshire pudding.
Yeah,
I've forgotten about that. So little lines like that just suit his Doctor down to the ground because you're never quite sure if he's serious. Even Rory's like, Did you really? Or is he joking? And that's what I love about Matt Swift Doctor. You're never sure if he's serious or not. So
no, I agree. Those little tiny bits that he brings to it make all the difference sometimes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he's quite he's on the same sort of wavelength as Brian, Rory's dad, in this, which I love. Those two seem to get on really well because one thing that I did love about Brian in this episode was that he follows the Doctor's orders to the letter. So the Doctor said to him, keep an eye on the cubes or watch the cubes or something. And then 4 days later, he's got his camcorder set up and he's like, well, when I'm sleeping, I record them. And then I wake up and I rewind it, see if I've missed anything. And Rory's stunned by it. He's like, because Rory's thinking the Doctor didn't literally mean sit down and watch the cubes like every minute of every day, but he's just taken it like as his mission, hasn't he? It's like his, it's like research mission and he's not going to deviate from it.
And I love the calmness of him. Is it like the bit where the Doctor walks and he's just sat in the TARDIS? He's like, I just alone with my thoughts. Didn't realise time had gone so quick. And you just thought, that's so Brian, just in that one scene. And I love that. And there is a bit where they kind of pack the Doctor off, don't they? They say, go on, just go and do what you want to do. We'll look after you. Go and have some fun. Get out your system, come back, and it'll all be fine. Nothing will have changed. And at that point, I really wanted Brian to go with the Doctor. Like, even if we didn't see those adventures, I wanted him to say, come on, Brian, me and you'll go and let's leave them to it. We'll go. We'll be back before breakfast. Let's go and have some fun. I really wanted Brian and the Doctor to go with him because I think I can imagine Matt Smith's Doctor with Brian traveling around and getting into a few scrapes and looking at the stars and then coming back. And I just thought, it would have been brilliant. As I said, we didn't even need to see it. We could have just seen them go off in the TARDIS and come back. It would have been great. But no, he follows the ponds out, doesn't he? And I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah. But no, he's great, though. Mark Williams, he does play that role very well. He's kind of got that maturity about him now. Now he's reached that sort of age. And all of the actors were, a bit younger than he is. He has got that father figure nailed for it. He's got that sense of wisdom and calm that you only sort of get with life experience, really. So when everything's kicking off, he's very calm, like you say, isn't he? And
I think he's great in it. I absolutely loved his character. I think that brought the episode up a lot, actually, because I'd sort of not forgotten about him, but I'd forgotten about all the nice scenes of him. And I thought, this is a much, better than I remember in that sense. Yeah.
Brian knows his onions.
Yeah. Yes.
What do you reckon to the little cameos then? You had Lord Sugar, Brian Cox.
Not bad, actually, because sometimes cameos can be a bit cringy and take you out of the episode. But I thought, particularly Brian Cox, I thought seems bang on the nail. I mean, that did seem, sometimes when it's weird that they feel like they're acting, and you think, oh dearie me, you know.
Yes,
But I actually thought both of them seemed like they were actually from the TV show. I thought they were both quite good, actually, even though they're very short scenes.
Yeah, I didn't mind them actually. I really like the Brian Cox one because it was just bang on the money. You know, it's exactly, you can imagine, like you say, although they're kind of acting because they've been given that script, if you like, it's still a written show. I can just imagine that would be right up his street. You know, he'd absolutely be commenting on, you know, the theory and his theories and all that stuff. But I love how we finish it off with, you'll have to ask a better man than me. And it's clearly aimed at the Doctor, isn't it? It's clearly. Yeah. So the Lord Sugar one wasn't too bad either. I didn't mind that one.
Yeah, no, it was all right. But I agree with you. The Brian Cox one just fits in brilliantly. But the Lord Sugar one made me laugh. I thought it was quite fun as well. Yeah.
Yeah, not too bad. And what did you think to, there was kind of a, I wouldn't say underused, but there was a kind of a strange writing choice in this where we had those two guys that were sent down from the ship and they were at the hospital and their faces
have
got
the funny faces,
strange sort of shape and stuff. They were obviously just, you know, sort of minions, you know, of the Shakri who have been sent down to, you know, do certain tasks. But we had this little girl who was like this little androidy.
That didn't work for me.
I was going to say, did you find that a little bit lackluster?
Very much.
Why that was even in there in the first place?
Yeah, didn't work at all, that for me. I couldn't agree with you.
Yeah, I just couldn't get my head around why they chosen to do that, because she's meant to be, what is it? She's meant to be sort of controlling the other two.
Yeah, because like Matt Swift sort of switches her off or something. It's weird, that bit. I didn't get that at all. I mean, the minion bit with the weird faces and that, that adds a bit of horror element to it, so that's okay.
Yeah.
But she does nothing except look blank and then get switched off. And like you said, it doesn't help the plot at all, really. No, I didn't get that.
Yeah. And I couldn't figure out if she was controlling the cubes as well. I don't know if she was. Yeah. I'm not sure. But yeah. What do you reckon to the Kate Stewart and the unit stuff in here then?
Yeah, I thought it was all right. I've forgotten it's her first story, actually. So when she boulders in and then there's a sort of reveal halfway through that she's Kate Stewart, as in, you know, Lethbridge Stewart. So I'd forgotten it was the first sort of story to introduce her. And she's quite good in it. You can tell she hasn't quite found her stride as Kate Stewart.
Right.
I don't know if you felt like this. Like, you could tell it was her first story in terms of Doctor Who, but because I think she's much more confident and direct later on when we get to meet her again.
Definitely.
Whereas she seemed a little bit unsure of the character for me. So I still thought she was good, but do you know what I mean? She didn't have that. She's a bit more bossy later on, isn't she? A bit more in command. And in this, she seemed a little bit like, we're not sure what we're doing. Oh, I'm not too sure. She didn't quite seem the Kate Stewart that we see later, where he's going around with guns, shooting everybody. You know, not quite that strong character that she later becomes. But yeah, I thought she was quite decent in it.
I know what you mean, though. If we think about Kate Stewart in the Zygon Invasion / Inversion, she's really strong in those and worlds apart from what she is now. But I thought she was pretty good, though. I did like her, especially the scenes where the Doctor's talking about the brig himself, and it's quite touching.
That's nice.
It's quite nice. Yeah, but I didn't think she was too bad. Yeah.
No, she's all right. I like the fact that she said she didn't want handouts or something, doesn't she? Because he's like, why you drop the Lethbridge? She's like, well, I just wanted to do it on my own merit and stuff like that, which is interesting. But yeah, she's all right. She's still good. Still good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good bit of chemistry with Matt Smith, I thought. Yes,
little kiss at the end, little peck on the old cheek.
Oh yeah. That's what I love about Matt's Doctor. He goes from being like this. That's why it reminds me of Troughton. Really, he can go from something really serious to really charming and endearing, like in a switch, like that scene. Yeah.
What do you reckon visually then? Because I thought it looked, well, most of Series 7 looks very nice.
Yeah.
So we're getting into that sort of stage where all the kind of cinematic feel to all the episodes was pretty much on point. They all looked really nice, and the effects were, I thought the effects of the cubes were quite nice, because sometimes it's very difficult to match seamlessly something that's a physical effect versus because the actual cubes themselves, they were obviously manufactured and made so the actors can pick them up and throw them around and stuff. But sometimes when you have the visual effect that tries to match, so I thought they did a fairly decent job of matching. They look quite seamless, when you see them floating up and moving around. I thought that looked pretty good. And I'm pretty sure you could buy those cubes from somewhere. Was it Rubber Toe?
Rubber Toe.
Were they doing them for a while?
Rubber Toe did them. Yeah, I think you can still get them actually. Yeah, definitely Rubber Toe did them.
Yeah. Not the most exciting prop replica to own, but
if they lit up or something, they would have been, wouldn't they?
That would have been awesome.
But they are just a black cube. Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought they did a pretty good job visually. It all looked quite nice. Most of Series 7 looks nice.
Series 7 obviously had a fairly decent budget, didn't it? It does look... I thought the episode looked quite nice, actually. The spaceship and the CGI still stood up pretty well. Because what is it, 5 years old now? So, I thought it still stood up really good. If I was to be nitpicky, the only bit that perhaps looked a little bit ropey was when they're going through the lift wall into the spaceship. I mean, it just looks a bit naff, but to be honest, such a short scene. But no, I thought overall it looked really good. I thought direction was nice in it as well. I thought it was very well directed by Douglas Mackinnon. Is that how you say it? Mackinnon. I thought he did a very nice job directing it. I thought Murray's music was quite on point, apart from I didn't really like the bit, the bit you said about where the Doctor's painting the fence and playing with the football. I didn't like Murray's music then. I think he was going for sort of happy comedy.
Yes.
But it sounded a little tacky to me, if I have to be honest with you. It probably sounded okay at the time, but it sounded a bit dated, I thought.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that I thought, at the beginning when I said that it tries hard at times to kind of emulate the RTD feel.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that was unintentional, but it felt like it was trying to provide a bit of zany, because there's in right back almost in episode 1, with Rose, where Mickey's at the table and he's yes, babe, what, all that stuff, all that very fast cutting and that kind of quirky music that Murray Gold brought back then. Especially
I can hear it in my head.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, the sort of almost electronic.
Yeah.
I thought exactly the same thing. Yeah,
it felt like they were trying to recapture a bit of that, and they were trying to do that feel. But like you say, the music felt a little bit. I could see what they were trying to do, but it just felt a little bit out of place. It was very loud for a start. It wasn't the same volume as the rest of the music, and it was. Yeah, not sure.
I was going to say, on the other hand, I mean, I like the stuff when the cubes, he sort of does a bit of quite simplistic music. That's a lot better. But yeah, I thought, I don't know, that bit stood out to me a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I read you.
What did you think about it being set 10 years since Ledworth? Is it Ledworth? Can't remember. The 11th Hour place.
Yeah.
I thought that was a bit odd because at first it's like 10 years. Well, Amy and Rory look the same. They don't look 10 years older. So
that's true.
But then I was sort of thinking, I suppose a lot's happened in terms of from 11th Hour to where they were now. So I suppose that could be 10 years ago. I don't know. Have we seen 10 years worth of Amy and Rory in that space? I'm just not sure.
So what was that then? Was that the old people with the eyes coming out of their mouth?
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure he says it. Doesn't he say, she says it's been 10 years since.
Oh, Amy's Choice, that episode. Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought,
I don't think so. It doesn't feel like it.
It doesn't feel and they don't look any different, do they? No. They don't look like they've aged 10 years. So I wasn't sure about that. I almost felt like they should have cut that line and just been a bit more vague about she could have said, it's been years since Ledworth, but to put 10 years is very specific, and I don't know, I just wasn't sure about that in terms of the writing.
No, I read you, mate. I wouldn't say it's 10 years. Doesn't feel like it, no.
No.
Yeah. So I've got nothing else to say on this one, really, mate. It's
No, I've done my list as well.
Yeah, it's quite a simplistic story, I'd say. There's nothing too crazy going on, but yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, they're the same. I've done both sides of my list, and I think we've pretty much covered it.
Right, scores then.
Okay.
All that's left is scores. I think it's me to go first.
It is.
Okie dokie. I'm going to give this, I think, a 6 out of 10.
A 6? All right, fair enough. I'm a bit higher than you. I'm going 7.5 because I really like the concept.
Okay.
It probably should be. So yeah, 7.5. It's just such a shame about the ending, isn't it? It could have easily been an 8, a strong 8, even maybe higher. But yeah, conclusion is very unsatisfying on this one. But I did really enjoy it overall. So 7.5 for me.
7.5. It's not a bad score. I think that continues the trend and leaves our score as an average for the year so far of 7s.
7s, okay.
7.
That's exactly what I say, 7.
What did our lovely listeners think of this one?
Yes.
Let's kick off with an audio clip, an audio review. This is from Down Under. This is Sammy Satine.
Sammy.
G'day, Gary and Adam. Sammy Satine here. So, The Power of Three, written by our new showrunner, Chris Chibnall. I like this one. Brian is the best. I love him. Kate Stewart is great in her first appearance. I love Kate, both on TV and in Big Finish. She's awesome. This is fun. Some people don't like the ending. I do see their point sometimes, but on this watch, I was just fine with it. Not sure why. 8 out of 10. See ya.
8 out of 10.
Nice, short and sweet from Sammy.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, Sammy.
Over on Twitter, we did the poll. We asked you about The Power of Three, likey or stinky. 72% of you said likey.
Yeah.
That left 28% of you with stinky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. A couple of people did say this is the Theta podcast, Theta Sigma podcast. The only good thing about this one was Kate Stewart. And even she was still finding her character 1 out of 5.
Really?
Yeah, Rob Kelly.
Theta.
Initially I thought it was an intriguing idea, but it didn't go anywhere. 5 out of 10, average at best.
Oh, okay.
Oh dear. Richard Reedy says, loved it, but wished it had been the first part of a longer story. Gallifreyan Hoovian says, I quite enjoy this one. Nice foreshadowing of the Pond's departure. Kate Stewart was great. It's just awful Sonic saves the day ending.
Yeah.
Gives it a 7. Yeah. Who else do we have on Twitter? Anyone else? Nope, that was it. Over on Facebook, let's actually do another audio review. This is Lewis Palmer.
Hello, Big Blue Box podcast. So, The Power of Three. I've always liked this one, actually. I don't think it's not necessarily a great story by any means. It's fun and cool. And the Doctor plays Wii in it. So that's something. And something cool, for that matter. Yeah, not much to say here, really. I think the only complaint is the same complaint that everyone has, and it's that the ending is literally just Sonic and go. And that's it. It's just a big Sonic Ex Machina, and it's really disappointing, actually. But there's some nice comedic moments. I really like the scene with the Doctor and Amy just talking, sat on the riverbank. Nice foreshadowing for Angels Take Manhattan. But yeah, I've always quite liked it. It's nice and fun and quite fluffy to just put on when you're bored and want some Matt Smith Who to watch. So yeah, see you next time, guys.
Cheers, Lewis.
Thank you, Lewis.
Yeah, not a bad way to say it if you're bored. You want to put some Who on, I suppose.
It's easy to watch. Yeah.
It is, yeah. Let's do another audio review. This is George Buddy.
Hello, Gary and Adam. So The Power of Three. Now this is from the era that I really enjoyed Doctor, because I was a fan from The Girl Who Waited, which is the back in the Series 6. I think I enjoyed the back in the Series 6, despite how much criticism it gets now. And I enjoyed Series 7 Part 1. It was only really until Series 7 Part 2, and especially Series 8, that I really started to get critical of the show. I must say that the pink title sequence, really. Now, I love this usual 11th Doctor's first title sequence. It's probably one of my favourites, if not my favourite, just because it's from my era from Who. It's my first title sequence. I love the music in it as well, but seriously, what did they do? I hate what they did with the title sequences in Series 7 anyway, but seriously, pink and purple, I hope they do this for the female Doctors. For Jodie Whittaker's title sequence. I really hope they do that. It does feel this episode like a throwback to the RTD era with the Earthbound. Who are the Grillmouth guys? I'm not really sure. This episode leaves a lot to be desired, to be honest. I'm not really sure who the Chakri are. It's a bit of a rushed ending. And we're doing the whole Doctor Life, Real Life thing again, which I'm not really that happy about. Everybody Lives Again, not a fan of. Matt Smith's my personal favourite Doctor, but he's a bit iffy in this one. Some interesting concepts, but the lack of humour and a rushed ending makes it a bore to watch. It's worrying that our future showrunner wrote this. I'm going to give this episode a 5 out of 10. See you guys next week.
Ooh, mixed thoughts there. A bore to watch. Okay.
Not happy that our future showrunner's written this one.
I do worry about... episodes... Well, this one I quite like, but other episodes Chibbers has written does make me worried. But anyway...
Anyways, let's go over to the Facebook page. Dean Jones says there's a lot to like. As expected, Matt Smith is great, balancing comedy and touching drama perfectly. Mark Williams is an excellent addition as Brian. Great pacing, engaging direction, and the plot is quite engaging for the most part. However, there's quite a few issues. Gemma Redgrave is terrific as Kate Stewart. Unit don't get utilised that well. It's a bit of an odd editing, in particular the dialogue between Amy and the Doctor arriving on the spaceship before even arriving.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I'll have to have another look, yeah.
The third act is also incredibly rushed. The creepy doctors and little girl are pointless. The Shakri plot is engaging, but since they were already going to wipe out humanity, it doesn't quite make sense and ruins the solid build-up beforehand. He says, a decent watch, though, 7 out of 10.
Yeah, so some very good points there, Dean.
Yeah. Aaron Ball says, a story with so much potential. Matt was fantastic, but the pacing was a tad slow, although that was the aim. It had a great suspense and great scenes with Matt, although the ending was rushed, and it was an example of the Sonic used way too often. 6 out of 10. George Coppen, the idea was good, but the execution wasn't so. I think this may have worked better as a two-parter, as they could have explained more about the Shakri and the Tali. Brian was by far the best part of the episode. Dinosaurs on a spaceship was better. Gives it a 6.5.
I prefer this one.
Finn Morris Young was an alright episode with a lovely score. Matt on form as always, and some all-round good supporting cast. Overall not bad, 7 out of 10. Jason Thayer, I like the introduction of Kate Stewart. She had a presence to her that seemed like a good tribute to the brig. In fact, the story seemed like an update of Pertwee's style of story. Gives it a 7.
Okay.
Lastly, on Facebook, Jake Bottomley says, watched this episode on Netflix the other day. Quite enjoyed it, was a bit disappointed that the episode was resolved by the use of the Sonic. Another 7.
7.
And let's do our last audio review. This is Jake Birtwistle.
Hi, Gary and Adam, and the rest of the listeners of this week's Big Blue Box podcast. So, The Power of Three, written by our future head writer, Chris Chibnall. I like this episode. It was okay. You know, I really liked Brian. I thought it was one of the best parts about the episode. It's just, he's hilarious. I really like Kate Stewart as well. Amy and Rory were okay. The Doctor was okay, I guess. One of the things that I didn't really like about this episode for me is that this episode didn't really feel global enough. Like, these cubes appeared all over the world, and it didn't feel like the world was doing much. I was expecting some kind of meeting with the head of different countries in, like, one room discussing what they're going to do, like in Children of Earth. But that never happened. The ending was complete rubbish. The Shakri was terrible. It's another Sonic Saves the Day ending, which I cannot stand. I forgot how overused the Sonic Screwdriver was in the Matt Smith era. I just didn't like the ending at all. I'm going to give this episode a 7 out of 10. Bye.
Oh.
Very good point about it not being global. Again, something I didn't pick up on, but now he said it. That is a really good point, because it didn't. You could have had some scenes with, I don't know, even if it was just, you know, like when they have like the Taj Mahal with a few cubes scattered around it, you know, like they sometimes do that with the Cybermen and stuff. Do you know what I mean? They could have made it feel more global. Yeah, it's a very good point.
Yeah. So that's it for the official stuff. Did you have anything over your end?
No, because I forgot that we were recording earlier this week, so I didn't put anything on Geek's Handbag. I actually scheduled it for tonight and then realised that we were recording today.
It's unbelievable.
That's no good. Yeah, that's
unbelievable. Just because we have a TARDIS doesn't mean you can take for granted.
Just going backwards and forwards, timey-wimey. Yeah, so no, I didn't. Sorry.
No worries. So I think the overall score, I think we're looking at a 7, to be fair.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I nearly went for 7, but Brian brought it up for me. Brian brought that 0.5.
Yeah, well, I was going to give it a 5 initially.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was going to give it a 5, but I think, but again, Brian, for me, he brought a score. He brought it up a point for me. So,
yeah.
Next week, it's Classic Who. We know you love the old Classic Who, guys. Third Doctor. What we doing next week?
Yes, it's Third Doctor story next week. The Time Warrior. Sontaran.
The Time Warrior.
Yeah.
I must admit, this will when I come to watch this for our review, it'll be only the second time I've seen it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. So I actually quite enjoy. I'm going to enjoy watching this one because we space out our reviews so much. It does feel again like quite a long time since we did a Third Doctor one. I think it was a couple of months ago at least.
I was going to say, I'm really looking forward to seeing a bit of Pertwee because I always look forward to watching Pertwee. Death to the Daleks, I think, may have been the last one we did back
probably.
in August. Yeah,
it'll be good. So I think in this one, haven't we got Sarah Jane and the Brig and lots of Middle Ages?
I remember a castle. And I remember a very bright green jacket.
Yes, a bright red uniform as well.
Is there?
Yeah, 4-parter.
Yeah.
Not bad. But no, looking forward to watching some Pertwee.
Yeah, me too, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. Old Ruffles, as some of our listeners call him.
Is it Sarah Jane's first story? Or is it her first trip in the time? I can't remember. Yeah. So yes, like you, I'm looking forward to revisiting this one.
I think it might be, Yeah. So next week, The Time Warrior. Get your DVDs out. Your classic DVDs, because we'll be asking, as usual, for your thoughts on that. And I think we're going to do that for 161.
Yes, indeedy.
Thank you for sticking with us and listening through episode 161. It's been great to have you on board, as always. Thank you very much for your reviews and your audio clips and all that jazz. Love reading those out and listening to those. It makes a difference.
It does. I love the audio reviews. I love hearing our listeners' voices.
Yes. It's good, because otherwise you'll be bored with just Adam and I's
droning
scores.
on.
Yeah. Oh, I'd give that a 7, I think. Yeah, that one's a 5. So it's all good. So thank you very much. So next week, Classic Week, get your DVDs out, fire up whatever streaming service is in your country that you watch Classic Who on, and get your audio clips. If you want to send an audio clip, just bung it over on email, hello@bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk, and we'll play it out on the show. If you could keep your reviews to roughly a minute max, that's really helpful. Anyways, head over to the website www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to all of our previous shows on there. Plus you can link off to all of the social media stuff and give us a like and a follow, because we talk and rant and argue and all that stuff in between recordings. Also remember to check us out on iTunes and all of the other podcast networks. And if you are an iTunes subscriber and you like the show, if you could spare just 30 seconds for a quick review and a rating, that would be awesome, because that really helps us lots.
Pushes us up the ladder, doesn't it?
Indeedy.
Yeah.
Remember to check out Adam's channel, The Geek's Handbag.
Yeah.
Coming at you somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
The Geek's Handbag.
Be coming at you from Valencia soon.
Oh, cool. Location shots.
That'll take me forever to edit. Probably next year.
Yeah. Yeah, the New Year special when I went to Valencia months ago.
I've still got a video filmed in the Harry Potter world that I filmed about 4 years ago. I was thinking, I've canned it. It's in the vault. It's in the handbag vault.
While Adam's doing his editing, my name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And remember, Lonte.